Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, July 22nd meeting of the Norton Planning Board. The public is welcome to participate in person or remotely. We're in person here at the Norton Town Hall at 72 East Main Street. You can also join online via Zoom in the link that's in the agenda. Any questions can be emailed ahead of time to town staff as listed in the agenda. I'm going to call this meeting to order. We have the full board here in person tonight, which is nice. As far as planning board business and policies, we do have some Mylars to sign at the end, so no one leave quickly after the meeting so we can sign some Mylars, please. Bills and warrants, Brian, we have one bill to pass down as we're talking. We do have 5 or 6 sets of minutes, so I'm going to hold those till after the public hearings. I'm going to take the public hearing slightly out of notice because we have one continuance. So for site plan review, SPR 16 and special permit 24 for 260 South Washington Street, the owner's still working through peer review comments, and they've requested a continuance to August 5th. So the chair would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next item on the agenda, special permit 23-114 West Main Street. The owner is Steve Sakashia. Hopefully I said that right. Applicant is New England Sign. The application is for electronic message center sign. Paul, do we have anyone online? I don't see anyone jumping up in person.
Yes.
Who's going to be talking and presenting?
Paul's got the,
Do you want to come right up to the microphone, please? And again, if you could just state your name and who you're with for the record, please.
Mary Beth Moriarty, New England Sign Services.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Paul, do you want to give a quick intro to this, or Mary Beth, do you want to do a quick, Paul's going to pull up the...
Yeah, I'd love to.
Very good.
So Steve approached me. He has an LED sign that he would like to use. So we decided we would configure his existing sign, remove it, use the same posts because they're still in very good shape, put a ID sign, illuminated double-sided sign box on top, and install the LED board underneath it. And it's basically the same size as the sign he has now. All the electrical's there, so we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to dig holes, pour concrete, we don't have to do any of that. We're just taking the old sign down, putting up a smaller ID sign, and installing an LED sign.
Sounds
Any
pretty,
questions?
sounds pretty straightforward. I'm sure you're going to still get a building permit after this.
Oh, yes, yes.
We do have, before I go for questions, our bylaw has several things that the sign can do and can't do. Have you reviewed those? We have a...
We have reviewed those. Steve and I have talked about it.
So those would be in the conditions, most likely, of our approvals or anything.
Of course, yes.
Okay. We can go through those if anybody wishes, or we can take questions as they go from the board. Tim, did you have something?
I was going to say, I think those conditions are talk about how bright it can be, text. It's not supposed to have any animations, so it's just supposed to be like a static image. Even something like an animated American flag waving is technically against the bylaws because it's
Nothing can be...
apparently going to distract drivers. But
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't cycle quicker than 10 seconds. Maximum size. This electronic message center shall have a default mechanism that freezes the sign in one position if a malfunction occurs. That has to be, I believe, in writing from the manufacturer. Or is that the brightness? No, sorry. The EMC shall contain a brightness regulator which does not allow the sign to register more than 3 foot candles over ambient light levels and shall be accompanied by a manufacturer's certification of such compliance.
Cool.
We comply.
Beautiful. So yeah, that'll have to be submitted to the building inspector.
Sure, I can do that.
Questions from the board?
No, I'm good. Just made that pretty clear.
Mary Beth, anything else you want to say? If not, any members of the public have anything to say, or anybody on Zoom? Paul, I don't see anyone on.
Just that I think it would look good and it would help his business, and I hope you say yes.
I don't see anyone jumping up in public or on Zoom. We
You say motion to close the public hearing?
have a motion to close the public hearing. And we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Public hearing's closed. Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve with conditions from the electronic sign bylaw and standard conditions as
Second.
appropriate.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion to include our standing conditions and the EMC language that's in our bylaw, and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
Okay,
Can't
thank
be
you
any
very
easier
much.
than that. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Paul, did you want to?
Yep, so we'll just have the decision drafted up and we'll have the clerk sign it late, probably later this week. No, not later this week, sometime next week.
Okay.
Maybe the chair will take care of it.
Sure.
Okay.
The clerk's here.
I will be on vacation and won't be back until August 4th.
I don't want to hear it. The chair will gladly sign it. Next item on our agenda, special permit 16 for 1 Dean Street. The owner is JCS Holdings LLC. The applicant is Morse Engineering Company. This application is for 24 residential units, and it's been continued multiple times since February. How you doing tonight, sir?
Doing
Just
well.
state your name and who you're with, please, for the record.
Sure. My name's Gregory Morse. I'm a registered engineer with Morse Engineering.
Give us a minute, we'll pull up the
Sorry.
Great.
plan
Thank
on
you.
the...
I'm not sure if you intended to grab the easel when you came up, but there is an easel over there if you wanted to throw the board up there.
We should be able to put up whatever you were presenting, it's up to you.
I believe Paul has it in electronic format, so. I guess I'll
Yeah,
start
go-
while he pulls that up.
Absolutely.
Again, Gregory Morse. I'm a registered engineer with Morse Engineering, representing the property owner and applicant JSC Holdings. I'll start by thanking the board for your patience and continuances that we've requested thus far on this project. My engineering firm didn't do the initial layout on this, but my understanding is a previous engineer had done a bunch of review with various town departments, et cetera, which led to our initial filing back in December. And since then, there's either been some bylaw changes or some staff changes at the zoning level that have required some modification for this project and redesign. This spring, we also have been working with Conservation Commission to address some outstanding conservation issues before we dove into a full redesign of this project. So what I'm presenting to you tonight and what you see up here on the screen is currently where we're at. This is going to be a special permit request in accordance with Article 19, which is the Affordable Housing Bylaw, for a 24-unit residential townhouse development. Of the 24 units, 10% are required to be affordable. In this case, that would be 3 units would be affordable units. The existing site here is 13.5 acres in size. 8.6 acres of that is upland land area. The wetlands have gone to the Conservation Commission and have been approved through what's called an ANRAD process at this point. So you'll see that looking at the screen on the right-hand side is Dean Street. On the left-hand side of the screen, highlighted in blue, is the limit of the bordering vegetated wetlands at the rear of the property. Kind of centrally located in the middle of the property is a smaller wetland, an isolated wetland under the town's conservation bylaw. The property is largely undeveloped, with the exception of right up front on Dean Street. There is a commercial garage there with a roofing operation out of it, with a small parking area. We're not in any FEMA zones, endangered species districts. We're not in any groundwater or aquifer protection zones. But for purposes of zoning, we are in 2 different zoning districts for the town. From Dean Street back approximately a third of the way, the front third on the eastern side is the Village Commercial District, and then the back of the property is the Residential 60 zoning district. So what we've laid out would be the townhouse project. We'd be coming in with a private driveway. It's approximately 1,300 linear feet with a cul-de-sac on the end of it. It provides access to the 24 townhouses proposed as condo ownership. There would be a homeowners association or a condominium association, which would be responsible for maintenance of the roadway. The unit breakdown, you'll see that there's 1 duplex building, there are 6 3-unit buildings, and 1 4-unit multifamily building. The sizes of the units themselves range from 1,800 to 2,500 square feet. They would be 2 to 3 bedrooms. They would be serviced by on-site septic system. We've done the perk tests with the Board of Health, witnessed out at the site. Pretty much all less than 2 minutes an inch sandy soil, very suitable for a septic system. The drainage, we've broken up into 3 smaller drainage systems. Standard in the roadway, we would have catch basins and particle separators, and then there are 3 different drainage basins, one on the north property line, one kind of on the southwest corner of the project, and then one out back adjacent to the larger wetland. That would be the largest of the drainage basins, and it would discharge on site. This project, as you see it, retains approximately 50% of the site as open space. There's 9.15 acres that are retained as open space. So I think tonight my proposal is just to kind of get your initial feedback, and then we would request a continuance to your first meeting of September, if that's possible, so that we can kind of finalize the nuts and bolts of the engineering piece. But trying to get your feedback and get in front of you because it has been a while since we made this initial application. Thank you.
So, yeah, I've got a few questions right off the bat. This has changed substantially from the initial. Right off the bat, I was going to say this is merely a discussion because this isn't a stamp plan. It's not signed by you or anything, so it really doesn't hold any weight for me until it's a actual stamp plan. It's obviously not a full set of plans either. It's just a layout. So I got a few items for you to check off. The first thing, how you're proposing to build triplexes in the R60 zone. They are not allowed.
The triplexes in the R60 zone.
Duplexes are allowed by special permit. Multifamily is not allowed. And
Gotcha. So I guess we would be looking at modifying the request and making those duplexes in the back. I believe there's 8 units out back. So rather than 3 buildings, we'd go to 4 duplexes and add the special permit request.
all this could have been worked out ahead of time with town staff, but I guess no one wanted to meet with town staff ahead of time and to go through these changes. So yeah, it's not a stamp plan. Why don't we have a site plan filed for this? There's no site plan review filed.
Sure. We made the initial one, and then since then we've revised it to this. It was recommended that we come in next week for a sit down with department heads.
But your client refused.
I know he is.
It's that important. You guys come in.
It seems like we're way ahead of ourselves here and almost wasting our time. My third question or fourth, whatever, you're going to be applying under the affordable housing. Do we have enough acreage to come in under the affordable housing? I don't believe we do. Paul, am I correct? Sorry. What am I thinking? That we're short on acreage?
Well, one question we have to determine is, in the R60 area, this really looks more like a cluster, and can we use Article 19 for clustering? And I haven't had a chance to fully go through this, but if not, then they would need to try to apply for the clustering provision for duplexes.
I'd also like to put in that the cluster developments are not allowed in village commercial. We've discussed that multiple buildings could be, but that would also mean that you're applying for 5 multifamily buildings within the village commercial, not a cluster development.
The multifamily we saw as an allowed building in the village center.
It's a special
Village
permit.
commercial, special permit.
Yep.
Yep.
So you're asking for 5 special permit multifamily buildings.
Correct.
Just to make sure you got your, cross your T's, dot your I's. It can't be as a cluster development in the village commercial section.
Go ahead, Tim.
I was gonna, have you done just, obviously this is a split lot in terms of zoning. What would be allowed in this lot by right if you were to develop it from that perspective?
So I don't believe there's a density requirement in the VC district. The density requirements in the R60 zone. We have it that you could get a total of 8 units in the RC zone, residence 60 zone.
Okay, and then the village commercial, you haven't south. Okay.
No.
Just trying to understand the contrast between what you're asking for relief and then what you could potentially build by right on the site.
I would say one thing to go by right in the village commercial would be a commercial use over 10,000 square feet or 25 or more vehicles.
Which exists there now. Yeah.
Which that would be like the next special permit criteria. I guess,
Yeah.
I don't know, what is it, 16 units or something like that would be more than 25 cars.
Yeah. The other question I was going to have just for the applicant, this is more of a comment. You were trying to dump out that common driveway into what is arguably the worst visibility spot in Norton Roads.
The worst intersection.
Because if you're coming down Dean Street, we'll say from the bottom of the page up, where that triangle happens, there's a stop sign and there's a telephone pole directly in your driver's blind spot on the passenger side.
Okay.
It is a brutal intersection, which, yeah, and the people coming out of South Worcester have right away and no stop. So the burden is all on people coming from Dean, and the people coming out of that driveway are going to be.
I don't know how you come out of the end of the driveway to a stop sign.
I
It's-
don't see that turn existing at all.
That's
like,
Okay.
There's obviously, you haven't been out.
like right at that triangle, there's a stop sign. So I don't think you can even make a turn to that stop sign with the current layout.
Okay. I will take a closer look at that as we move forward.
Yeah.
My only other comment that I got written down is the fire department had looked at the original plan. They have not looked at this plan, so obviously any changes have to go back in front of the fire department.
For turning radiuses and all that fun
Exactly.
stuff.
We're
Yeah.
going to need a turning radius plan and everything.
Understood.
Still
If I could
bad.
add another
You still can't
comment
make the
too
turn.
on just comparing between this and the previous plan, obviously the complete loss of any commercial area up front sort of seems like a negative to me and just in my mind. But also on the previous plan, if the triplexes out back were just changed to duplexes, the whole plan would be conforming. The commercial area would be up front and would be fine. The cluster development out back would be fine. It would all be allowed potentially.
We understood that it didn't meet the cluster bylaw requirements because the lot size was less than 20 acres, which is why we went back to this and not just the cluster bylaw.
Was that because you tried to do it with multifamilies, which weren't allowed anyways? Because it's a different requirement for duplexes and single families.
It's still an issue because it's 15 acres for a duplex. Sorry, it's 15 acres for a duplex, and you're a couple acres short of that, right? So,
We're 13.
unfortunately.
Okay.
Doesn't work.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it needs a lot of work. I mean, I don't see that driveway configuration working, so that front building can't be there probably. And from there, it's all gonna have to be.
Sure.
They've got their homework. I think they know they've got our feedback. I think of what they're looking for. I don't know if Eric, Bridget, any other comments?
You
Is,
covered it.
Is September enough time, do you think?
Could we go to your second meeting of September?
Sure, Paul, do you know, I don't have it in front of me. Do you know what the second meeting is?
The 23rd.
23rd? Ken, do you have a question?
Yeah, who should take a look at that, the dangerousness of that intersection for the traffic? Would the police department?
Highway.
Who would be the supervising department that would make that an issue? A security, a safety issue.
It's really us, and then if it's something substantial like this, a lot of times we do get peer reviewed for engineering and et cetera, so that would definitely come up in a peer review comment.
Because I can personally vouch for it. I'm a Dean Street resident. That is a disaster waiting to happen.
I was just there about an hour ago.
I live around the corner off of South Worcester,
We
down the
both come
road.
home that way.
Yep,
Isn't that always
100%.
scary when you got to go left?
I almost got hit there this morning. Yep. So I believe September 23rd is our second meeting.
Okay.
So unless any other members of the public in person or remote have any comments? You see at least one member of the public online or two? No hands raised? Orin and Peter are the only ones here in public. They're not jumping out of their seats. No public comment. The chair would entertain a motion to continue SP 16 for 1 Dean Street to September 23rd.
Can I just point out
Yeah,
something?
Rob, sure.
I'm real quick. If I'm counting 4 days, because I was looking, here's today. So 2 weeks goes to there, right? 2 weeks to there.
We have a 2 week break in
There.
August.
What do we, is that what I'm missing? Is there a 3 week?
Yeah, there's a 3 week in August.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was
That's
just
all
trying
right.
to make sure.
Yeah.
Probably because of Labor Day week.
And we had some vacation things, I think, in August that we worked around.
Yeah.
Okay.
But did we get a motion or did we not?
Do not have a motion yet.
Motion to no, go ahead, Rob.
Just so, yeah.
Motion to continue SP 16 to September 23rd. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Griffin. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Great. Thank you for
See you
your
end of
input.
September.
Rob.
Please encourage your applicant to work diligently with town staff.
I will. Thank you.
We'll jump back to our minutes that Brian has ever so diligently almost caught us up with. First set of minutes I'd be looking to approve would be January 7th, 2025. Any comments, revisions, or a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Do we have any? Those are from January, right? Do we have abstentions?
I do.
Yeah, so we're going to have Ken and,
Oh,
that's all right, you can still make the motion, I believe.
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can still make the motion. We'll have Bridget and, so there'll be, you two, all of these.
All of them. Yeah.
Correct, you can make the motion, you just have to abstain
Okay.
because you weren't on the board yet. Second set would be January 21st, 2025.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Eric's the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4 ayes, 2 abstains.
Can I just make a comment for anybody on the Zoom meeting? Please mute your microphone if you're not speaking. We can hear you breathing.
I think it's John.
I didn't even hear it. Next set looks like February 10th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's 4 yes, 2 abstain.
Is it 4 or is somebody not voting?
Sorry, 5.
Thank you. I didn't catch it on the last one.
My math, I was told there's no math tonight.
You're the chair.
Still, I was told there was no math tonight.
There isn't. That was fine.
February 23rd, 2025. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstain?
Aye.
That's
Aye.
5 to 2.
Rob and Eric again.
That's why you're there, Mr. Vice Chair. March 11th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. We have a second. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Aye.
That was a long one.
It was. March 25th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
I
Aye.
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 Abstain?
Aye.
5-2. That's all of them that we have, I believe, Brian, right? That we're caught up with what you sent us?
Yeah, I think I got 6.
Yep, that was 6. If my math was correct.
Yes, that is 6.
Beautiful.
You don't have to check it till tomorrow, though.
Next thing on the discussion will be our zoning bylaw recodification. We're going to talk about sections 6.0, 7.0, 8.0 to start, 9.0. Paul, do you want to pull those up and kick us off?
Sure. Yeah.
We will point out who do we have a couple people on Zoom, and we have Mr. Siegel here in person and Mr. Wiggins for our full room of zoning bylaw recodification talk tonight.
Right, so this is the third in a series of meetings that you're having. So I would like to, go over these changes that have that we've made throughout this process, and then including some changes that we've made recently, and including some changes that the Zoning Board of Appeals had, a few changes, and then the building commissioner had some changes in there. And afterwards, when we're done with this, I think it'd be important to go over the meeting schedule. The town meeting schedule is out. The town meeting is October 20th, and so I've built back the important timeframes for us to, when you transmit it on the town warrant, and then later the deadline by which you have to make your recommendation to town meeting. It would help if I just pulled that up. I don't know why I didn't before. Anyway, so we're going to just go through this, and for the audience's knowledge, what I'm going to focus on are where you see strike through and underline. That indicates where there's been a change. If you don't see a change, that means it was taken from the existing bylaw and put into this location. So tonight we're gonna focus on the general regs and then the special regulations. So this is really the meat and potatoes of the work you all do. And I hope, as I've had to look over this now about 10 times, I really see this as a real tightening up of, in many cases, some are going to be additional things that were, in many cases, the state told us to do. But in a lot of this, it was really a clarification of your processes. It's going to make the whole process clearer for everybody involved what has to be done. So I really do think there's a lot of positive aspects of this. So I'm just going to scroll until I start to see changes, and right away we have the parking, table 6.1, the table of residential off-street parking requirements. And this one I remember when Mark Bobrovsky was working with us, our consultant, we've essentially consolidated the table below into this. There's still, the parking ranges are largely what they were before, but you can see those where it's residential single family, you can do 2 parking spaces, not fewer than 2 parking spaces per dwelling unit. And then multifamily, you can see that there are different parking ratios depending on how many units you have. And
Paul, before you go any further, Oren, when you want to speak about something, jump right up, and same for whoever's on the Zoom meeting. As we're going, if you have a comment, please raise your hand and I'll try to see you and we'll go to you, so we don't get too past what anyone wants to make a comment about. And same for the board, just like last meeting. If we have something we want to go into in-depth discussion about tonight, let's do it. If there's something we want to discuss, and then Mark and we can look at it further down the line and think about it more, just like last meeting. That's what we'll do.
So section 6.1.10. I presented this to the ZBA, the Zoning Board of Appeals, last week because they were identified as the authority here the permit authority If there was a proposal that exceeded 500 square feet for a driveway, so this is saying no more than 2 driveways shall be allowed on any street frontage unless the frontage exceeds 500 feet, and in which case they'd have to go to the ZBA for approval. They thought this would be more appropriate here, back with the planning board, because oftentimes this is going to be, you're going to see this as a site plan. So why not keep all the decision making with the planning board? So they felt that that was, that you all were the more appropriate authority. And then you'll see the changes that we made here. We deleted that provision of you may authorize a smaller distance between driveways, but you deleted that section of not to be less than 100 feet to any driveway. Right below it, this is a change. Steve came by my office and he had some proposed changes, and we worked on this. And so the goal here, we thought we could simplify this. This is the driveway widths for commercial and industrial driveways. And we have it as separate standards. And we thought, well, really, why is that different? I mean, that both can entertain large trucks. And what we just thought was have the standards the same, offer ranges where you can see, like with a two-way driveway in industrial, it just says 50 feet. Well, why not give a range up to 50 feet? That way you don't have to grant a waiver if it's below 50. This might encourage smaller driveways, which will have less stormwater impacts. So we just proposed that the one-way driveway for commercial and industrial would be a range of 12 feet to 24 feet. That's for the one-way. And then two-way would be 24 to 50 feet.
Is that a question there, Paul?
Yeah.
And maybe this is just something, if we need to check with highway, what is the recommendation for roadways to be like a standard roadway width? Because I know a lot of private ways start as a driveway and want to be accepted. So if
I think legally it can't go under 11 and a half feet, right?
Yeah, I think our subdivision regs are 24 feet minimum, 22 or 24 for a two-way street. So I think we're within that, and this is the driveway.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing we really changed was we went from 11 feet to 12 feet as the minimum, and then
I just don't assuming that it was correct before is not what I want to do, just in terms of making sure that the driveway widths that we're putting in here match up in terms of if something is starting as a common driveway on the path to a potentially accepted street, that it actually makes sense and they can build it once rather than...
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but that would still give you the authority as the board to say that. There might be circumstances where the minimums would be acceptable. So, but you do have, I think this gives you a little bit more flexibility. And
Alan, you have a...
Go ahead, Orin.
Two things. One, the language itself.
Orin, sorry, could you just state your name?
I'm sorry, Orin Siegel, 28 Cotting Road.
Thank you, sir.
The language itself says driveway widths shall fall within the following limits. That doesn't prescribe anything. So someone can come to you and say, I want to do 24 feet. It's not something that you're able to prescribe. It's a variable. So you have to come up with some reasons as to why you want to give them something less than that. I'm particularly concerned with industrial ways. They could come up and say, okay, right now these trucks are going to be X. It's an industrial use. You can expect, I think, the life of that site would necessarily require it to have that at 50 feet, as opposed to starting at 24 and all of a sudden they decided they're going to change that. Whether there's a difference for commercial or not, I leave that open. But I think this language, because some of these are as of right, there may be a site plan review, but I don't know that who's going to control as long as it's within that range. So if I come up with a plan that's within that range, how are you going to deny me because it's within a allowable range unless you can come up with some specifics as to why I can't do that? So I think two things. One, the language itself is not prescriptive in terms of what you have to have. It's unless you want to say the board can do something, but I don't know that all of those.
That is what this is saying. I mean, this is under their responsibilities.
But it's an obligation.
I think
Now, is that a permitted use? Are they coming under a permitted use? Is this a site plan review or is this a special permit?
I think, Paul, if you scroll back down, I think what Oren is saying is that by putting it as a range, the prior language had for a two-way industrial driveway, just had a requirement. Right. And it doesn't, the new language would not have that, would force the board to justify pushing people to that upper limit of 50.
Could we just
rather than
like comma determined by the planning board?
Well, you can always waive it and you can reduce it. There's a language in there that says you can reduce something. But I think you're better off prescribing this is what you want, and they've got to justify why they don't need it. And then I think you have the right in here. I think you can adjust it. I thought I saw something. You have the right to adjust it. But certainly having them come in with that range is kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
I would leave it prescriptive, and with your right, if they come up with a real legitimate reason because you want to save space, you want to reduce it, but don't give them that range to begin with. And also, I'd prescribe industrial use. I'd prescribe it at the amounts that you have there, at least the 50.
Paul or Steve, was this a before or after Bobrovsky edit?
After.
Just wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, you have under number 4, you have the ability to, to provide, waivers to this.
Right. So,
I just go, this is still.
The new language does give a smaller floor.
Right.
For an industrial driveway, in theory. Would somebody who's driving heavy trucks probably go on the higher end anyway? Yes, but then we're getting into a lot of turning radius questions probably. If somebody wants to go skinny and not pave.
Right. Mm-hmm. But that would be, that you face that anyway in some circumstances. So we just thought giving a bit of flexibility and reducing some pavement can be beneficial.
But that's you reserve that option. Giving it to them up front gives you the duty to determine why you're not allowing it the shorter distance. If they prescribe it as they have to do it, they have to come in and justify it to you. And whether you give a waiver or not is yours, because this could come in as a permitted use. It's not a special permit. And if it's not a special permit, then your site plan review, and then you got language that said you've got a range, they're in that range, they're qualifying. These are qualifiers. It's your setback as a qualifier. All those are what they need to qualify for. If they're looking for a waiver or something or variance, they can go for that. But I think you don't want to give them that kind of range. Thanks.
Currently now we're for two-way, are we at 22 feet to 30? Is that
22 to 30?
Is what our current bylaw is, correct?
So it'd be from the difference between 24 to 30 is what our sort of requirement is right now. Right? For like a...
Right.
Because somebody could put
the
in
one way for commercial right now is 11 feet to 20 under commercial. So
I mean, I got no issue myself adjusting the language to require the industrial to maintain a 50-foot driveway. It's not that crucial to me.
We're just trying to see what we could do to reduce stormwater.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind providing the range, and then just like again saying if we determine that it needs the full 50-foot width, it's under our determination. I think that's.
I feel like we see it almost every plan. They kind of request what they want to design anyway.
Yeah,
and if you felt that the width was too low, this still gives you a chance to. You still have, as we will see later on, when it comes to conditions and your standards for approval, you know, the ingress and egress is one of the things you have as one of your decision-making points. But, and I'm not going to fall on my sword for this one, but I just thought, you know, Steve had a good idea, and I agree with it. I think these standards, I think 50 feet is a lot. And I think well, anyway, I'm not going to go into my stormwater spiel, but, you know, just trying to provide them with more flexibility, but still, you all can, if it's a special permit, then, and even if it's a site plan, if you feel like there's a concern there, you have the ability.
What's the board's pleasure? Do you want to do a straw poll? Who feels what? Or I'll take the opinion on the board. The only argument I can make for the bigger one is you will get the tractor trailers that want to make a longer sweeping turn and have a little bit more room to get into their lane quicker. That's the only thing I can think about for having the wider two-way.
Yeah.
Other than that, I really don't have a strong opinion either way.
Yeah. I would, speaking for myself, I think I'd lean toward keeping it more prescriptive. If we want to add language like the board can reduce these upon determination, it's determination for the site and the use or something like that. It's already in point 4, so you can ignore that last point. But I think I guess I would leave it alone. Leave it to where it was before. If somebody wants to push for smaller, great. But
And if someone came and say, hey, this is a reason why there's no way we can make this turn, I don't think we'd be.
I'm not opposed to being flexible, but when you have it, I think Oren makes a good point in that we have to justify rather than they have to justify. If we have if the floor is lower, we have to tell them why we want it bigger, and they could not like it.
I suppose the other part of my last here on this part was just making it so commercial and industrial properties were just built out in the same manner. So if there was a change of zoning or use.
Yeah. I think they're serving different uses though.
Because if you build out the commercial driveway and then change the use there to an industrial use instead of a commercial use, now you have to redo the driveway over to a different standard.
If it's a permitted use, yeah.
They'd have to both be permitted uses in both zones, I guess.
But there's a lot of overlap in uses between the commercial and industrial zoning districts.
It's fine, whatever. It's not the big one that I need to argue.
And we have a lot more to cover.
Yep.
Steve's big one to argue is coming up.
So do you want to just keep this the way it is?
My vote would be keep it.
It's fine with me. Keep it.
Keep it.
Keep.
Sorry, Steve.
No, I got others. We'll come back for a spring meeting.
And speaking of which, here's another one. This is another Steve. Steve, you want to describe this one for the transit stops?
Stops.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, I guess. I suppose any development with a lot of people there, we might want the ability to impose them building a build-out for a bus stop or a transit stop if it's along the GATRA line or we see transit in the future.
And actually, when the ZBA approved the 40B, the Norton Links 40B,
We asked for it.
you got a school bus shelter in there.
Yeah.
So
Even though there's no GATRA that would stop there currently, correct?
no, but
GATRA go bus that goes by 140.
Yeah.
And there's all of Norton that I use a lot.
right, and I think there's a school bus stop they use it for.
Still
So
school bus, yeah.
All the language says may, so it's like we may. I think.
Switch may to shall.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind it being may. I think I liked that aspect. 'Cause
Oh, you
it's-
like it?
Oh, I thought it was.
Being more vague?
It says shell up there.
Yeah.
Is it vague on purpose,
this
Steve?
may include.
This may include the location.
Oh.
May include the location.
Accommodate transit use. This may include the location. The accommodation might include various things.
Yeah.
It may.
And we're not requiring them to add it when it makes sense. I think we've talked about it with some developments. I forget which one I'm thinking of in my head, but we talked about like, where's kids from this development, where they're going to meet the school bus.
I mean, I'm personally in favor of making it more mandatory if like that's the thing we need to do. If like they need to provide these amenities to the transit area.
The change made a shall.
But that, I mean, that's
Is it?
I mean, I kind of like the idea of just putting it in their head and then us asking for it.
that's fine with me. I mean, like I said, it does say they shall accommodate, but they have to figure out the way to accommodate.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's one of those pieces that we could ask to like have the ability for it, like a like an actual like sheltered stop or something like that. Like, is there a space to put it? Yes. Is it on the plan as potential? Yes.
Yeah.
Does it need to be built? I don't know.
I mean, that was my take on it. If there's any adjustments that anybody else has, but
No, I think we keep it may be required, and if we think it's required, then we make it required.
I think your shall up here gives it to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have a shall here and a may there.
Yeah. Shall accommodate, and then we can see how it. Yeah. This may include anything. Yeah.
Quick poll for the board. Everyone okay with this? Yes, no?
That's okay.
yes.
I'm fine. Sure.
Warren, go ahead.
I'm still a believer of not changing anything, but if you were changing it, I had raised this once before.
Changing anything,
The less you change is the better off you're going to be, is my philosophy.
well, we're far past that.
No, not necessarily. But anyway, if you're adding something.
We're going to do it. We're not going to be able to come back and do this again. It's not going to happen.
The question I raised is, I don't see anywhere describing or giving prescription as to what a loading zone has to be. It's sort of, there's nothing, it's just you have to have a loading zone, and I've never seen it. I don't know if the towns have something describing what a loading zone is or prescribing how it has to be.
So if this is, to Warren's point, if this is a new term we're using, should we put it a definition of loading zone?
I suppose. I mean, I kind of used the wording off of Massachusetts recommendations for passenger loading areas. But I just used their term. So again, a passenger loading zone, I assume, is just a area that's
My head
marked
understands
out
what it is.
for loading. Like,
This simply says loading zone. Do you want to make it a passenger loading?
I have no problem defining it further.
I think we should
I
just
don't know
define
if
it
that's
further.
what he
It's not
means by
defined.
that, though.
You're thinking loading zones, like loading a truck zone, is what you're saying to avoid.
Yeah, well,
But
that
no,
was good.
Sorry about that.
How about if we just said pedestrian loading zone?
There you go.
Yeah, passenger, pedestrian, something like that.
Yeah, but there is no truck loading zone definition or qualifications or requirements. So I'm not sure how that's been dealt with in other towns. I've never seen it in our bylaws. I know we scratched my head with it. And just so you know, that the numbering, you got to change your number to.
I just did.
Okay.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Sorry.
Yeah.
This is going to need
I certainly wouldn't be opposed to having a spot on the road where Amazon trucks cannot take up the entire lane.
No, they're just allowed to by right now. UPS started it. Now
That's
they can just
on-
stop wherever they want, and it doesn't matter.
And they
That-
do.
No, and no one will say anything
And
to
they
them.
do.
That's on the next page.
Just moving on here, one of the changes that you'll see throughout this, again, is under that concept of the planning board will have more ability to grant essentially waivers, but they're actually special permits, different modifications. You'll see this throughout a lot of the changes here, whereas it was silent, the code was silent before, and you didn't have the ability in certain areas currently or previously to do it. So this, I think, is a positive change. It sets out more clarification over what your authority is. Next, we go to signs. There were a couple of changes in here. One was proposed by the building commissioner. We have another one from the Historic District Commission. This was a change on political signs that I remember Mr. Bobrovsky made.
That was a free speech thing from Bobrovsky. Yeah.
So we removed the 10 days. This section 6.2.14, there's a couple of changes in this. One is we're just changing to add village center core to village commercial and commercial. Ed, our building commissioner, recommends that we make a connection when we're talking about a sign in the village center, that it refers to section 9.6.6, which is signs in the village center, but that's under a different section. So he wanted to see that. And just today, I just received, where did it go? Where did it go? Should have been here.
Is it at the end? No.
Let me make sure, because there's a change that. Okay, okay. Something happened with the copies, but I'm just gonna. I can tell you what it is. So, the chair of the Historic District Commission asked that when it comes to signs, to acknowledge that they have sign guidelines. And I drafted up, bless you, I drafted up language to state that if you're within the historic district, refer to their signage guidelines.
Do they have written guidelines? Or
Yes.
Is it? Okay.
Yes.
Well, it says here, political signs may only be placed only on private property. Doesn't that kind of kill that whole, which I think would be great, discussion of signs in the center, like on the signs on the common and all? So I think we should just get out of that business.
Where are you looking at that?
I'm reading. What number are we at? I was in 5. Political signs may be placed only on private property.
Can you go back up, Paul? After you're done, sorry.
I don't want to go too far on this because it kind of drifts into a topic that's not for this board.
Yeah.
I don't want coming to this board. It stinks.
Okay.
Which,
Right here, number 5.
There it is. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I'm fine with it saying that. I'm just,
I think that
has that impact?
I don't think political signs are allowed on. Like,
We don't. That's been a
government property.
continual select board discussion topic, so we can leave that one alone.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. I don't want to inherit the discussion conflict. I'm just saying we have a rule right here. It's only on private property.
Do we want it in our guidelines that we, as a town, reserve the right to infringe on free speech?
no.
I would think we wouldn't.
no, but I'm just trying
Let's
to think
just
of when we were
leave
allowed
it
to put
as
signs.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So-
think that's nothing new though.
There were a couple changes with non-conforming signs
Because,
that
like,
Mark
on, like, a
had
campaign and stuff, you have to get permission
regarding
from the-
prior
like, a
lawful
business owner.
non-conforming signs.
Can't just put one in the town common. I mean, you can.
Are there
just
any
put
changes to the electronic message area, or is that somewhere else?
It's in here, but there were no proposed changes to it. But I think
Okay.
after what we saw earlier today, I'd be an advocate for, if a sign is under a certain size, like 16 square feet, building permit or a site plan, but a special permit seems excessive to me.
It's item 6 in here. Digital electronic.
Yeah.
Moving on with lights. Again, this is
14. Yeah.
another change that, again, if you have the authority to grant variations to it, but it'll, again, be a special permit. Landscaping, couple of changes Ed had brought up, but it's not, it was, oh, that's in performance standards, never mind. Again, we have the special permits for modifications. Performance standards, this is a new section, and I think this is a really important one. You all were essentially doing this, but now this codifies how you go about approving a project, right? So this provides all the different standards, the applicability to it, what's exempt. And so now all of a sudden when we get a proposal down the road and you're looking at lighting, these are the standards that you would look at. All right. Again, we didn't change anything from when Mark went over this, but many of these are new. But again, I think this is where we start to really see things tighten up, but also be just a lot clearer. Because now when you're making decisions on site plans and special permits, you can look at this and go, this is what you need to do. And it's on us too now to put this, once, if this is adopted, we get this out to applicants who really need to focus on this. So lighting. Now noise, the thing I want to say here is this is new information, but what we're proposing is the state's standard. But I've flagged this, and again, Rob, thanks for reviewing the comments made at town meeting, but Mr. Cogliano made a point about this standard. But we're just simply proposing to follow what the state's requirement is. And enforcement on noise can be a big challenge.
So now if this passed, the building inspector would be able to act on it, not the
Board of Health.
Board of Health.
Board of Health, sorry, EPA is now who you'd have to go to?
The state EPA.
For the state, yeah, the EPA for the state would have.
DEP.
DEP.
DEP, yeah,
Wrong
it's their
acronym.
regulation.
Yeah. I know we have the decibel levels in here, Paul. We don't have the state's rules on pure tones. That's part of the same bylaw.
Test my amps against it.
Can we just put a note to include that? If we're going to copy the state, we should copy the whole state reg. And for those who haven't gone through way too many discussions about about decibels, the pure tone is the idea of like that high-pitched whine that's a consistent frequency that, yeah. So the state has rules about restricting it. So basically it can't be above 10 decibels in ambient, and it can't break whatever limit they set for that at the same time.
I'll get that language in here.
Yeah.
I just want to mention too, what's important about the noise is you all have been doing this for years, but now it's codifying. You can regulate this through hours of operation. We've laid out the requirements. This I think helps your ability to, modify a project. While the standards for noise are in the state law, at least now you have a clearer ability to say that hours of operation things have to shut down, or that the noise really has to, you can't be, pounding away on, some manufacturing open aired, and we can make you not do that. So I think this is a much better protection than what we currently have.
Mr. Chair.
Orin?
Thank you. Tim, the thing you were referring to, is that what was called monkey noise or something? When we're doing the solar stuff, where it couldn't be heard by adults, but children were going crazy over it?
I don't think it was, the state regs talks about it as pure tones.
Is that what that was?
Pure tones.
It's a little bit of that as well, but...
Because we did run into that with the solar farm, and it was a real problem for some of those abutters.
Yeah, and the abutter on Clapp Street spoke about it at length, I know. Whether that was pure tones or something else. Obviously not a good situation, but I just wanted to make sure if we're going to just cover both of them.
One thing that I'd like the board to consider, under hours of operation, you have loading and unloading. What about including deliveries into and out of an operation? And I'm not as concerned if they're operating on East Main Street, but if they're operating so they have to go through residential areas, that kind of restriction would really help a lot in terms of making sure they understand that if they can't do their work, it's just not their abutter, it's the deliveries. And if they're located in an area that goes through a residential area, it's devastating. It really is, and it's been a major problem that I think we've sort of resolved somewhat with some cooperation, but having something in here to limit that in those cases, especially where they're driving through residential areas, should be something that the board should consider.
Yeah. It's interesting. I kind of feel like it's covered in Part A.
Can you restrict FedEx and
Yeah. Well, we can't. They're
people like that?
they're not under a permit, so they're just driving. But I mean, I think.
Right. This is.
I wonder if it's covered in Point A there, loading, unloading of boxes, crates, containers. I mean, that would be every delivery I've ever seen.
Well, that doesn't. You can send trucks out, and you can receive trucks to come in. They don't have to unload, but they're coming in early. What happens is the truck drivers like to come in early to avoid the traffic, and they come in at 5 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is. They'll drop their truck off, and they'll just get there. And so, again, if it's a commercial street that they're on and they're using commercial roads, I have no problem with it. But if they're going through residential areas, being able to restrict them should be something that the board ought to look to protect those residential residents.
Well, I think this gives you that without saying, for commercial roads, this is the standard in residential. So I get this. It's an important point. But we also want to make sure we don't write it in such a way that, may be legitimate reasons where, a delivery's coming in at 8, 9 o'clock at night, and it's in an area that's perfectly fine to have it. Part of this too is we can direct, it's hours of operation, but also, the route, trucks can take to get to a site, which we've used before, and this codifies that even more. But I do agree that
we do cover a lot. Sorry, Paul. We do cover a lot of this in our special permits now, anyway, in our hours of operation. I'm struggling to think of another way to add more language into it. If anyone has an idea, or Oren, if you wanted to write.
I think the suggestion would be just to add delivery in that comma list at the start of Point A. The delivery, loading, unloading, opening, closing.
Common delivery.
Yeah.
But how do you stop a delivery from arriving during hours of operation? Like again, I understand
the
they might
enforcement
not
would
have
be
their own
challenging.
trucks,
Yeah.
but that's their hours of operation. So that would already be there, but just any delivery might just be, again, like an Amazon truck or something, or FedEx.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be a delivery they have any control over.
Right, so why, I don't know how we'd restrict that.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's certainly implied in here.
It is.
I was thinking,
I think it's already covered in my mind. But
I do too. I agree with you, Oren, but I think it's covered, and I'm struggling with adding anything helps or not. Do you think just adding delivery?
Yeah, I was just looking at add deliveries.
Paul, you want to just put a note and we'll
add delivery.
Put a note on it. We'll talk about it again.
Yeah, and we did talk about it with Cumberland Farms specifically, and we wrote it into the conditions for Cumberland Farms
for gas delivery,
for everything delivery. I think one of the members at the time was focused on that bread trucks are always at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, there's a lot of deliveries going on all night for lots of business.
So
I'll look at the Cumberland Farms decision and see.
Cumberland Farms was specifically easier to do that because they own all their trucks.
Correct.
So they can tell the trucks when to show up in theory. Not always the case for other applicants.
Right.
Thank you.
Cisco Wars.
Okay, site development and operations. So this gets into things like land disturbances, replication, which of course, if you're, revegetating property, clearing, for utilities, and then, okay.
What?
Yeah, Oren, do you want to share?
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I just had a question. I was looking at this design criteria. We used to have a section of landscaping, and it said you had to landscape your parking with so many trees. Does this overcome that? Because this has nothing for site screening or
no, that's in another section.
So this is So that's not part of your site design, or is that something else?
Well, remember, these are the performance standards.
Under site design, so
Right, but there's another section on
Landscape.
you maybe want to reference that
Oh.
that it's, those standards shall apply as well or something. It looks like it was absence of that, and I don't know whether the two are conflicting or not. Because there's nothing in here saying screening or any other plantings that I know are required under the landscape ordinance.
The section that contains the landscape, is there other stuff in there?
Yeah.
What is that whole section?
Oh, how many? What you have to in parking lots? How you have to landscape parking areas? How you have to landscape?
I think it's
a whole bunch
more.
of
It's
stuff.
more touching on the performance standard as a whole and saying that. Please make sure that you're also referring to this other section.
Yeah.
Not so much just landscaping, just the whole thing. That's the thought process there.
Yeah, it's kind of implied
Sorry.
here.
say,
Yeah.
okay, archaeology and historical resources. It's giving you the ability to, address that through whether it's the Historical Commission or Mass Historical Commission. Preservation of existing vegetation. This is just saying it's a priority to try to preserve the existing vegetation, which again has been a practice, but this just helps codify that. Revegetation, limits of land clearing, finish grade. So these are things
Did
that...
we have revegetation twice? Replication.
Replication. That's different.
Okay. My brain went, those sound like the same thing, and they were close, but never mind.
Yeah, so you can see these topics here, the different standards, even phasing of development now, stormwater. You also now have pedestrian and vehicular access, traffic management standards. It includes all the standards for accessing the site, for driveways, curb cuts. And I'm waiting for Oren. Oren, are you on one of these points?
6.
6?
Okay, we're not there yet.
Okay, so again, these are all of the ways in which we get around. So interior circulation, transport. A big thing, I think a big change here now is we're going to require a transportation plan, which we tend to, but now we will, and identify the standards that have to be done. And if you don't feel it's satisfactory, and this is something that the traffic peer reviewer would have to also review against, I think this is good. It's been a practice, but now now it'd be in the plan. And then level of service. So this was something Mark talked to us about.
Paul, can we go back up to 5 there for a second? Just in terms of the requirements for a traffic study. So this is for performance standards for any project?
Well, it's approval by the special permit granting authority. So I think this is largely under as a special permit. But I
was just thinking for there are projects where we do not need to see a traffic study.
Sure. Well, you have the ability to not require it.
Yeah.
Right, like the electronic message center. Would
exactly. That would be
right.
Completely irrelevant.
Right.
But we're just asking for an additional waiver on this.
You could. Yes.
Okay.
And then level of service. So, again, this was something Mark understood more from, he understands from case law, but if the proposed project results in an intersection level of service below level of service D, the applicant may be required to provide detailed plans with a cost estimate to mitigate any proposed impacts. And here's the important thing. If the proposed project will result in a reduction in level of service of 1 letter grade, going from, say, D to E, or an increase of 10 seconds of delay to a signalized or unsignalized intersection, the applicant may be required to provide those plans with a cost estimate that, when implemented, would result in returning
Can you?
improving the level of service. So this is essentially saying this would, be a opportunity for the town to get mitigation for a project that triggered traffic impact.
Can you show the existing on the? Is that how big is the existing? Okay, just there. So the existing is. Don't bring it below C or make it worse. Okay.
But I don't think that's consistent with state law. I
Yeah.
think that was Mark's point.
Yeah, but it does speak to some of the situations where we say, well, it's already an F, it can't get any worse. This does give us a number to say if it gets worse.
123 and 140.
Fix it, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's,
Lauren?
The problem I have with this language is that all it does is require them to give you a detailed plan and cost. It doesn't require them to do anything. It doesn't allow you to require them to do anything. It just basically says, you got to give us a plan and cost. Whereas the other one says, if you go below those, you can't go below those. It doesn't say that you have the rights to do something. If it says you can't require that mitigation under this. It just says they have to provide it. And it doesn't, these are supposed to be the design criteria you have. And so you have these criteria, but it doesn't say that if it goes below F, you can't have it, or you have to mitigate, you have to provide mitigation, which is reasonable. So it's missing something, is what I'm saying.
to your point, Oren, is that you're saying that the current language says they have to have a plan, but doesn't say they have to pay for the plan?
Correct.
Yeah.
Is that that's probably not the intent, Paul. In terms of,
I mean, it comes back to you whether you accept that plan as being reasonable. But if they give you a plan, you have the right to make them do that. You can say we don't like that plan because doesn't mitigate enough. But certainly, if they're proposing they're saying this plan will mitigate the problem. This is the cost. You can
have
say,
fun with it. Yeah.
Go do
Yeah.
it. It's missing that.
Sorry, but this is what you have to do to fix it if you want to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can check with Mark to see if there's a legal issue here, but
Yeah, I think we've had applicants who have provided mitigation as part of the project
Right.
We've
for
asked
better
for
for smaller or greater degrees, but this is asking them to provide the plan, not necessarily to implement it or pay for it to be implemented. So that's the nuance there.
right.
Um,
Right. So
Yeah.
I'll check with him on that, and if the answer is we can, then it would be, writing language that would require it, and then figure out the schedule of when a project would be built.
yeah.
Upon certificate of occupancy or something like that. But I have that flagged, so.
I've successfully been able to paraphrase you so far, Oren.
Then we have dangerous intersections, where you have the ability to mitigate for any net increase in traffic volumes that have a high accident history, or then site distances. Ed had a comment here, concern that about sight lines. And what I did was I just took this from the existing bylaw, and it didn't make it into this version, but I think this would be a good place for it, which is no fence, wall, hedge, berm, you could see the other things, or landscaping features that obstruct visibility within, that obstructs visibility shall exceed 36 inches in height with, hold on, let me try this again. Sorry, it's getting late. No fence, wall, blah, 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 or structural feature that obstructs visibility shall exceed 36 inches in height within any required front yard setback or within 20 feet of the edge of pavement or street right-of-way, whichever is more restrictive. This limitation shall apply to areas within the site triangle of any driveway, curb cut, or intersection as measured from the point of vehicular egress. He wanted to make sure he and previous building commissioners get requests to put building fences right up in the front property line. which can, of course, create all sorts of problems for people trying to turn out of it. And he's trying to make sure that we still have a way of not allowing that so that cars can safely pull up to an intersection and not have an obstructed view. But that can also be vegetation that's above 3 feet in height. So when you're in your car, or even if you're in a sedan, you're at 3 feet, you should be able to see over it. But if it's, I think about the shopping center I pull out of every day that I have to take a left, it's on a big curve, heavy vegetation. This can help with any projects that come in front of the board to minimize placement of potential obstructions.
Does this mean like I couldn't put an arborvitae in my front yard next to my driveway?
If it is screening a site, you can put it in your front yard, but it would have to be it wouldn't be within the front yard setback.
Well, yeah, but if my house is at the front, is at the setback, I have no other front yard space. Like if I build my house at the 25-foot mark back, then the entire front yard I can't put bushes in or nothing.
The challenge is when those bushes grow and screen.
My driveway is 20 feet long.
Yeah, no, I know. In your
neighborhood, and I can't put a bush
it's-
at the back end of the driveway. It seems restrictive to me. I don't like.
Yeah,
I get the idea of protecting an intersection, but this seems.
This is the existing language, Paul?
This was pulled from the existing, yep.
I know in one of the drafts, Bobrowski had proposed something, and we couldn't figure out how to attack it, so we deleted it.
Right.
This was actually a shorter statement than the older. I've got an older and a newer.
Yeah.
I think we just have to somehow change the within the front yard setback to within the site triangle or within the, I can't put my head around the wording. I think to Steve's point, the front yard setback is too restrictive.
Well, wait, okay,
I
so
can't,
what if we do this?
we need a traffic engineer to
I have a question.
make the
How would you
wording.
set the site triangle of what? Of vision down the street or?
That's the, yeah.
Correct. Yeah, so when you're pulling out to the edge of your driveway or the edge of a street or the edge of a common driveway, anything, you don't want a tree right on the corner. You don't want a sign right on the corner.
Right.
You have to be able to see
So
a certain amount. Was it 200 feet? You have to see
who
clearly.
sets the triangle? Who sets those?
There's a national transportation,
Yeah, it depends on the speed.
depends on
There's
several different factors.
There's a number of different standards, and speed's a factor. The angle of the street's a factor.
Can we like make this not apply to residences, like single family homes?
But then if you have a single family home or a duplex or anything,
Union in Southwester was a single family home.
I mean, I can just imagine like if you drive down the street, you're gonna come after house after house after house that is gonna be breaking this code.
correct.
But
Like, I can't
this
even
is
imagine how-
applicable- This is falling. Remember, this is falling under site plan and special permits, right? When we look at this entire section, performance standards. I want to go back to the top, but
I mean, I got tomatoes in my front yard that would break this rule.
Yeah.
That was a big tomato plant.
Seriously.
oh well.
Like 36
mine
inches,
would.
3 feet tall. That's
Nice.
That is
it's not.
Performance standards. So the following performance standards shall have been adopted in order to control the size, scale, and impacts of non-residential and multifamily developments that require a special permit or site plan review. So, Steve, I think that gets to your point that an existing neighborhood would not.
Yeah, I think your tomato plant's okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I just.
It's not going to apply to single family.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And most
The point's
people
valid.
have yeah.
And to the building commissioner's point, if he wants it to apply to be able to use this as something to talk with existing residents, then it needs to be somewhere else too.
Yeah. So do you want me to? I've edited out that
I don't mind that wording right there.
right here, or don't know if there's another section of the bylaw outside of the zoning bylaw that we might be able to put it, but I'll make that comment too.
Yeah, I forget where we had it when we talked about it with Bobrowski. But he had some language and we tried it and we're like, I can't wrap my head around this.
Yeah, well, part of it was they wanted to be like a 30-foot wide triangle space.
Oh, it
It's
was
like on
huge,
a 50-foot
yeah.
lot. Like that's already
Yeah.
the whole lot.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
we're talking more commercial and
You're right.
Right. Yeah, and this would be for anything with a special permit and site plan.
Yeah.
Well, I'm more okay with that as long as it's not just for general allowed by right single family.
Right. And we have been adding a condition to ensure, vegetation is cleared within the site triangle. So we've been doing that in the last year. So we've also included some more things regarding, parking and, pedestrian and mobility, maximum parking, mitigation. Oh, okay, here we go. Maybe this gets to the point about mitigation. The planning board may require as a condition of any special permit offsite improvements to mitigate the impact of proposed development. Such improvements include intersection widening and traffic signals or components of the traffic management. This might get to the point Oren was bringing up, but let me flag this.
Yeah, it's just
it's almost
the
like we
connection isn't there.
Copy that and put it right under where we were talking.
Good.
Yeah, but it might not always be a traffic mitigation. It could be something else too.
Yeah, you
So-
could do what they call traffic management. Big cities will do things like carpooling and things like that, and nowadays we do remote anyway. We put standards in here for sidewalks, pedestrian and bicycle safety. We've really ramped up on that. Location of parking areas, getting a little bit more into design to give you more ability to, say, put the parking to the side or behind the buildings. Again, these are things you've already been doing. It's codifying that. Traffic calming. Wastewater treatment and disposal. You would just be working with the Board of Health and Water and Sewer. So fiscal analysis standards was added. You have the ability to ask them to produce, the revenues and costs associated with development. And this was something Mark had included. And then you have the ability to grant the waivers.
I'm thinking back, was it, where do we have a big fiscal analysis
MBTA.
question? Was it MBTA? No, a specific project.
Oh,
Was it Yale or something? I forget.
We definitely talked about
Had
it
a
with
few,
Yale
like-
because it was
Yeah.
anything in, especially in that back half of Blue Star where it changed dramatically from the initial proposal at town meeting.
And we had no teeth to have them do any type of study, or no way to have them do any type of study.
yeah. And again, you would have I think you would have the ability to not require it, but it's probably after, it's certainly a new tool in the toolbox to ask for it.
Yeah.
And, sometimes your decisions are going to be based on, do you think this is a positive or negative fiscal impact? Well, now you have the chance to tell them we want this reviewed. So now we're into the special regulations, which were scattered throughout. Oren, do you have a question on special regs or previous?
No, it's special.
Okay. Earth materials. Right up front, I remember Mark said this provision about deleting that the operation for earth removal not decrease the value of adjacent property. But you'll see later on when we talk about your special permit requirements that considering impacts to the neighborhood is within your realm.
So this is just covered somewhere else?
It was something that Mark highlighted as not in line with case law.
Yeah.
If I recall, Mark was really talking about this valuation, and I think this is one of the things that was pointed out by the audience at the town meeting. That was the one thing they found as a change. They weren't sure why it was being changed. I was just suggesting, would it still work as said that the operations will not adversely affect the adjacent property? I know he was concerned with putting value because he said you couldn't really deal with the value.
That was from our existing language. It says this.
I know that, and then we took it out, and that was what was concerning people. I think the whole issue for me with earth movement is not so much what you're going to do to your property, how it's going to affect me if I'm a neighbor. And so I understand. I think Mark was talking about the value. You can't use value as that criteria because it gets really kind of scary, as opposed to it adversely affecting the adjacent property. I think that's what would be normally we look at, and that's what this is describing the scope of what you're supposed. The purpose of this section is to do, and that's why I suggest looking to adversely affect the property, because I think when you're looking at earth movement, that's what I would be concerned about, and I think that's just the board would want to look at, how it's going to affect somebody else.
Paul, you were saying it was covered in the permit conditions. Is that in this section, or those go back to the core conditions?
It's going to go back to we'll it's a different section, but let me just flag that.
Because I think one of the existing conditions is like impact on adjacent properties. So it's in the higher section, the core conditions that we're supposed to look at, but it doesn't hurt to restate it, I guess. Yeah.
All right, let me just flag that.
It's really affecting to the subjective arguments coming in.
So nothing changed here.
Probably not a way we can word this to protect ourselves from those either, is there?
There were just some changes here about the public hearings, but we still have to meet the requirements of it. Adult entertainment. So one thing I just want to mention about this, so the way this is written, it's the ZBA that's the permit authority here. They just felt it was more appropriate for you all, since this is essentially a commercial type of development and not what they do. So that was a change you'll see here, that they think it should be the planning board. I also want to point out to the public, one of the things that we did change, it's a substantive change, but our attorney told us we should do this, was currently our bylaw says that we can't have an adult use located within 1,000 feet from from all other zoning districts, as well as within 1,000 feet of another adult entertainment establishment. But because when we studied it, we realized only one property was eligible. He felt that there was a freedom of speech violation here, so we changed it to 500 feet. But I mean, Steve, you ran the numbers. There's not many more properties that.
It leaves probably like a dozen or so eligible properties in the industrial zone. Along Commerce Way. Commerce Way as a road will now fall in the district, which it wouldn't have before.
Yeah. And they're all, for the most part, built.
They're already built out.
Right, and Commerce Way, it wouldn't be something like Hill Street because you're immediately against residential, which we would not allow. So it added a few more properties, but if it's Commerce Way, it's already built out. I mean, it doesn't mean one of them couldn't be, redeveloped but he just felt that we were in a position we could be sued because of overly strict zoning on that.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Paul, just a question. The ZBA felt that it was more appropriate for the planning board, and it's just for, what is the permit being granted? It's
a special permit.
but is it just for, is it determining the use and knowing where it's sited, or is it going back to performance standards and things like that?
All of
Because
it.
I'm just thinking in terms of like, is it closer to a variance or is it closer to a special, like what we,
No, absolutely closer to a special permit, because currently we allow the use, but we have no siting requirements for it. Mark has added those siting requirements. So this is, if we ever get a proposal in the future, you would be reviewing it against, these provisions to ensure that it's done correctly. So it's a lot. It's not a variance, unless they had to go in.
it's not like we're determining whether it qualifies as an adult use. Which
No,
would
they
be-
will tell you that.
Well, I would hope so.
And then that you need to determine,
Yes.
is this use within 500 feet? Is it doing? You'll see the other standards in here.
I was more just going to the question about whether it's CBA or planning board.
Right.
In terms
Right.
of what it's
But
closer to, since we haven't seen one of these.
But
Thank goodness.
if this weren't an adult entertainment district, these are the things you look at. They're, other than 40Bs, the ZBA does not look at that.
Okay.
In some other communities they do, but not here. So you'll see that they have these different requirements for signs, for off-street parking. And again, you have the ability to, here are all the submittal requirements that would have to come in, which we don't have any of this currently.
We can't just put down that it has to be over the town line in some other town, right?
I think that would void.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just making it. Tim's over here nodding, he's liking that idea.
Yeah.
Properties in this bylaw shall be located in Mansfield, Taunton.
Yeah. And why do we want to allow budding towns? Because it might be near our town line, maybe at least two
Right.
towns away.
So again, these are all new standards that are not here. We've been fortunate. We haven't had one cited here because it would have been really hard to condition it without these. So, if we do get one. But anyway, the next on this is wireless communication facilities, towers and so forth. There were no changes.
Can you, let's see, in the section on wireless that talks about fall dimensions. I know there's a section that basically says like you have to clear, it has to be so far from the property line that if it falls all the way over at its full height, yeah, this one. Can you flag that for Tim to propose potential alternate?
What's the
So the challenge that we saw,
what's the site, Tim? Sorry.
yeah, no, it's in that point 2 right there.
You're thinking by itself, freestanding?
7.2, what, this one right here.
This one. Okay.
So when we dealt with one of these, I forget where it is.
South Washington.
Thank you. The way that it was that the structure that the facility was defined, it said that everything in this project is the facility. And then, but they had like a shed with the tower. And the way that if you read it, as in everything is in the wireless communication facility, and anything in the facility needs to have a setback equal to the height of the structure. So it was forcing you to imagine that the shed would get up and jump 200 feet to fall or something like that. Because it was making you calculate the height of the tower, but include it for the shed, which we just waived it for them, but it didn't make sense to.
Can the shed do that?
Not unless it's the Wizard of Oz.
That's pretty good.
I forget, but there was that was something where we looked at it and went, "This makes no sense. We're just going to waive it right now because it makes 0 sense." And they had the setback for the tower, but yeah.
Okay.
I've said I'm going to review it like 3 times, and I never get around to it. So please keep me honest.
Require a spot for an osprey nest on the top of each one.
We don't need endangered species and the DEP to come in.
Oh no, if you're helping the ospreys, they'll
We're not touching this,
they'll be
right?
my friend.
No.
Thank
Large-scale ground-mounted solar
Oh, yes,
facilities.
for building.
I just want to identify something here, which was, this was a comment Mr. Cogliano made at town meeting. Of course, this has been an issue regarding that one on the Cranberry Bogs, but concern about battery systems and that, does this provision mean battery storage facilities? We've always contended it did, and then as we found at the last meeting, that when we were looking up the definition of energy or solar energy facility, and there's the site back to the Mass General Law, their definition does include storage, energy. It said energy storage, and we're citing that in the definition. So I think we're just being consistent with how we've interpreted this.
There's a
all
lot
along.
more push for battery storage and energy storage, not even with solar development.
Right.
Just the
Yeah.
battery by itself.
Right.
But there's one around, and I guess it's a business. What they do is they buy the electricity and store it.
You're correct.
at
And then
one rate,
they
and
sell
then-
it back at a higher rate or
Correct.
higher demand time.
Right.
Correct.
But this is
It's Enron all over again.
Think about
It's
that.
Enron all over again.
There's a bunch of small venture companies dealing with it right now.
But these are accessory. It's considered an accessory.
Accessory to solar.
Yes. Yes.
So that's saying we're not allowing battery by itself?
In this case, it's considered an accessory
Gotcha.
structure.
Do we need to provide a special regulation for standalone energy storage systems?
It's a newer,
Right,
it's
new
a newer
concept.
thing.
If
I mean,
somebody
it
would
could be
like,
like a hydroelectric dam or anything. Like, I don't know what.
I don't,
The company just putting big containers of batteries and tying it into the grid, basically.
Right.
I don't think it's appropriate for recodification.
That's fine. Yeah. Keep going.
Certainly want to work
Or
with a lot of
it's
stakeholders on that.
If somebody wants to propose something at a town meeting under a separate article, go for it.
Tough to speak to. It's new, and the stuff I've read so far, I don't know how legit it all is. Some of the cons to having them, like when if the batteries catch fire, that can get pretty ugly. Which I'll agree that probably can.
A lot of the new ones are fully submerged in water,
Yeah,
so they can't.
so doing that for cooling.
So now we're in a new section, which is special residential regulations. So we're getting there. First section in here is our affordable housing section, which is Article 19. So there were a couple changes here. Of course, you see their definitions, but as you know, we moved all the definitions to the definitions section. But a significant change was the deletion of one of the criteria to trigger being eligible for this is if you're dividing land. If you're dividing land by into six or more lots, I remember Mark saying there was case law why.
He said it was flat out illegal.
Okay, so
Yeah. Or flat out illegal now.
right.
But yeah.
But so we're just saying you're only applicable if you're constructing six or more multifamily units. And taking away this provision, and you'll see a few more sections where we've said, talking about the lots in a division of land. And then I've realized when we get down to the density bonus area that we needed to change something there, because when we get to density bonuses, it says that the density bonus is eligible in R80, R60, and R40, and village commercial and commercial. But R80 and R60 do not allow multifamily. So if we're doing away with the 6 lots, R80 and R60 shouldn't be involved, because if it's only multifamily development, R60 and R80 don't allow it. So I just propose that we take out the references to R60 and R80 in the density bonus.
If it's redundant and doesn't apply, I would agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
But yeah, it's not applicable. And
Does it need to be added to the mixed use district? Like, do we need to put in that?
Do you need the MBTA in there? Is what he's saying.
oh, and we did not. Well,
rid
no,
of
because that has its own. That bylaw said the affordable housing was specific to that district, and this was specifically excluded from
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's specifically outside of this. So, and that had a different threshold of 10 units too.
Okay.
So residential clusters, I don't remember seeing anything in here that's changed. We should also point out to people, one section did get proposed for deletion, which is house numbers. You all never see them. This is something that typically is dealt with by the fire department. Mark also added,
You scroll back up.
yep,
House numbers need to be more than 3 inches, not less than 3 inches in height. Yeah, I guess mine are that big, I guess. Huh.
Minor floor. Just happen to know that.
So we've also allowed for, we call it currently housing for the elderly. We've made changes to that and broadened this whole section on senior housing facilities. Mark has put in a purpose statement. We've got definitions, but again, they're in the definition section. You see applicability, dimensional requirements. You can go through it all.
Look at too far. Did you want to speak on this? one?
I was going to say, so this is senior housing facility specific to the definition of senior housing facility itself, correct?
And all the different uses that fall under it, the different terms. But unlike our current code, now there are citing requirements that any senior housing will have to meet.
The problem is the definition of senior housing facility includes senior housing under it. So basically, this bylaw would affect senior housing, and there's provisions here that don't apply to senior housing, such as 8, transportation services, public safety. Those are things that have nothing to do with 55 and over communities. So I think I thought we were going to be separating it out. We've listed it in the use table as being senior facilities and senior housing, but under the definition you have in 11, you throw it under senior housing facility and don't make it separate. So either I think you need to separate it out, or if you want to have some other criteria for it, exclude some of the provisions that would not apply to senior housing.
Yeah, we brought this up before a couple times, and I mentioned before that the senior housing is a 55-year-old and up community. That's it.
Yeah, but right now it's part of the definition.
The way
right
it's
now.
being written, it's additionally including senior housing facilities also. So a senior housing community could also develop into a nursing home or something also. That's how it's being written into here, where either one of those components could apply. We already cover senior housing facilities, nursing homes, hospitals, infirmaries, etc., under the hospitals, nursing homes, infirmaries. We didn't need to add senior housing facility to the use next to senior housing. We just needed to include a good definition for senior housing facility and include it with the nursing homes, hospitals, and
No, to the contrary. Right now, your definition says senior housing is a part of senior housing facility. So basically 8.3 applies to 55 and over communities, which it doesn't. So it either you need to exclude those things that don't apply to senior housing on 8.3, because it says in your definition under senior housing, or the definition of senior housing facility, see 8.3. And then under senior housing facility, it includes, of the number of things that are included, is senior housing, 55 and over.
Right.
So
I've seen it since it was first brought in like a year ago or whatever. I've noticed this sort of conflict between what it is. I mean, I thought both uses are already covered without changing our table. To combine senior housing and senior housing facility created a confusion of some sort.
Well, they're different.
Yeah, they're different things. And I mean, they're not necessarily incompatible, but they are two different things.
Did we change something when we just went over this in the use table? I'm flashing
we
back to
did.
this.
We-
We had
'cause
this conversation. I just can't remember what we did.
In the uses table, currently it says senior housing. And then the next line is hospitals, nursing homes, whatever. And that would include what we're defining as a senior housing facility, medical care.
Mhm.
We didn't need to change anything, but we added in the senior medical care stuff into the category that's supposed to be just senior housing only.
So we got to go back to the use table, is what you're saying right now? And look at that?
In my mind, to fix this, I would put senior housing facility into the category with nursing home stuff, or just like that's where it belongs. It's a nursing home. It's a medical care facility. That's the category it goes into.
So you're saying separate them?
Yeah, like the senior housing
put it
facility,
down.
which is
And you need to separate it in the definitions as well.
Otherwise, again, we're making some way that a nursing home or senior housing can go together and incorporate each other.
So is that our determination? We need to separate those?
That would be mine. And it's obviously Oren's big concern. He's mentioned it several times.
Did we just talk about, I'm still going back to our last meeting when we talked about it. Did we make a change? We didn't make a change last meeting.
I don't
We
know.
talked about it and didn't do anything?
I don't think we did anything
No.
then, maybe.
No, we did not. I don't
But
think.
this change in definition, I guess, would bump up, like our RMV would become eligible to just be a senior housing facility now. It could be a nursing home, the whole thing.
Right. I think previously you had two different categories. One was senior housing and one was hospitals, nursing homes. What we did is now you still in your schedule you have senior housing and senior housing facilities as two separate items in the schedule, but you treat them as the same within your definitions is the problem. So you identify them as two different things in the use schedule, but we haven't separated them out for definition. You've included senior housing under senior housing facility in your definition.
Paul, can you make a highlight here that we have to go back and check all three areas? And
Yeah.
So putting that aside, the intention, Paul, is for this section to cover what we would consider like a nursing home, correct?
Right. And medical.
Yeah. So it's more like a hospital.
A hospital only for seniors. A nursing home.
Yeah, fair enough.
Excuse me.
I'll make the note. Oren's got a
Yeah, I think we had it.
No, I think we've
last-
known that these are linked,
Yeah.
and we need to make sure that we're looking at them appropriately. Yeah,
Right.
but it's just a good.
I
flag.
kind of remember talking about it and us going past it or saying we have to talk about it again and not.
Yeah, I had it on our list to revisit from last meeting.
Is it?
Yeah, senior housing.
Do you want to revisit this next meeting?
Yeah, we already have it flagged.
Kidding.
Meeting after too, we'll also talk about it again.
Yeah.
You declare one Christmas holiday weekend too.
Okay,
I wrote
so
housing section.
Okay. Okay, so senior housing, we'll go back, take a look at that and see how we can differentiate between 55 and over, and, memory care and things like that. Accessory dwelling units, again, this was a requirement of the state, passed earlier this year. So we are, I actually had a preliminary approval from the Attorney General's office on this language, though our building commissioner and the water and sewer superintendent have asked, can we require separate utility connections? I've asked the attorney from the AG's office, but I haven't heard back from her.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I just want to
Yeah.
make sure, because we can't put any regulation requirements that exceed any state, building or fire code requirements, as they want to see ADUs built. So
They still, if you have a septic system designed for a 4-bedroom, you can't add an ADU that adds another bedroom. They would have to upgrade their septic.
yeah.
Correct.
So nothing else has changed on this, but I will let you know once I hear from the AG's office about the
Yeah. I think that
not what's recommended language that we can encourage separation of water and sewer lines. So next,
especially for detached ADUs. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. If it's yeah. So special and overlay districts. So now we've taken a number of our overlay districts and have put them under one section. So floodplain overlay district is the first one here. A couple changes in here. Just want to point out there was this was the omission that Mr. Cogliano had identified. That was approved 2 years ago at town meeting. This section 9.1.10. He had pointed out it wasn't not on the current version online. I had asked the clerk to talk to E-Code to fix it. I don't even know if they still have, but my mistake was not giving this language to Mark to include it in the version that went to town meeting. That's on me. But it's here. This was the language that was approved a couple years ago. If the town acquires data that changes the base flood elevations in the FEMA map special flood areas, flood hazard areas, the town will, within 6 months, notify FEMA of the changes by submitting the technical or scientific data that supports the changes. So that's there. You can see.
Before we scroll, Paul, can you scroll back up? Is it worth putting language to because we're putting a specific address there. What if their lease runs out?
This was a good question. I mean, this is.
Yeah, he's right.
Um,
Can we just put
Which
the
is
office?
currently located at.
Yeah.
nah,
Can we just put the office and then we can make that information available elsewhere?
Yeah.
we just say, I mean,
The lease runs out. We have to do a bylaw.
or just put a
change.
parentheses. I mean, if we need to put their addresses,
Yeah.
then
I don't know why we couldn't just.
Say who they are. They can find out where it is elsewhere.
Yeah, just keep the
Do you have some
first.
special information you want to share? Or somebody
no,
losing-
I'm just or just parentheses or replacement address, mailing address provided by FEMA, or something.
No, but if they move to a new office, we don't want to be changing our bylaw.
Exactly. Yeah. Or,
Right.
Or
I mean, we could just strike the address.
if we don't need the address, then why
We're saying
include it?
FEMA Region 1 risk
As I
assessment
said,
branch
just say who
chief,
they are and leave it at that.
right? So we could just delete that, and then
Unless it's a requirement of the whatever DEP FEMA stuff that you need to include their addresses and what you're doing. But
all right. I'm gonna check that.
there we go. That's my good point for today. I'm done.
Ask our Norton neighbors. Where's FEMA?
He may not be around that much longer.
I get posted to ask questions like that.
Okay. I'm flagging it.
Yeah. But, yeah. Causeway Street's changing a lot.
Yeah. Probably not gonna have any championships along it anytime soon.
Oh, don't rub it in.
What are they doing
I'm
up
a
there now?
Bruins fan. I don't want to see that.
More addresses.
Water Resource Protection District.
Rolled right past it.
Yeah.
Can you go back up?
Their
If I,
address.
do you want to
There we
strike
go.
those also?
There they are again. That's a different title for the same address.
That's
The other one
just-
said
that's-
risk
that's
assessor.
FEMA's full name,
The same.
government
People
name,
use the
I
building.
believe.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
It's just
I think that's the
program
Tip
page.
O'Neill.
What's their government name?
That's fine. But yeah.
Federal Emergency.
So this just basically means you can't build a dam and route the water onto your neighbor's property.
Yeah. It's Water Resource Protection
Have a
Overlay
rest
District.
Yeah.
I wasn't alive. I don't think.
This is one where you have the ability, if there are district boundary disputes, if they provide scientific data, you can change the boundary. Here, there was just, I don't think there was anything else in here. Wetland Protection Overlay District. This one we did add the language to mirror the Water Resource Protection District regarding the district boundary dispute. So the burden of proof is on the owner to demonstrate that where the boundary should be for the wetlands. And that was the only change we did there. Marijuana Overlay District. One of the changes was just to identify that if there's a split zone parcel, if marijuana is not allowed in that split zone, you can't do it. You can't put the marijuana facility on that portion of the property, which is consistent with how we treat other uses. I don't think we changed anything else here.
It's amazing. We have like 6 pages, and then half of it is look at all the state's rules.
Yeah. We did add that the marijuana establishment shall not create a nuisance to abutters in the surrounding area.
We're currently full, aren't we? Or do we have?
I'm trying to get that clarified. There is another company looking, and I'm waiting to see, do we have a third license?
I don't know.
'Cause-
I thought we had 3.
Because
The green.
Lucky has 2, right?
Yeah, but one's a delivery license.
I thought we only had.
It's 2 retail.
How do we get rid of the ratio?
It's a state law.
Yeah, it's
Oh, it
10%
is?
of your liquor licenses.
That's
But
stupid.
we may have 11 establishments, which would kick us up to,
I thought we were set, but maybe not.
yeah, I'm trying to clarify.
We only have 11?
Well, liquor stores. I'm
Seems
sorry,
like
liquor
more than
stores.
Yeah.
And then
It feels like more.
within this section too is where we move the design in Village Commercial and Village Center Core. So you'll remember in Village Commercial, we've essentially changed it from design guidelines to design standards. So we replaced a lot of shoulds with shalls. And then we added property frontage requirements that came right from the Village Center Core and applied it to Village Commercial. Same with pedestrian walkways. So we've really ramped up, design standards in Village Commercial. VCC, I don't think we touched anything here. MMOD, we did not touch this.
What is this again?
Yes.
This is our MBTA community zoning, which, by the way, the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities gave us the thumbs up. So we're just waiting on
AG?
the AG's office.
Just scroll past it. I'm having.
Yeah, I don't.
You're not going fast enough.
We don't need to see this.
I'm catching words.
And okay, so that was it for the coverage of the sections. I do want to just go through a couple other things. As I mentioned, this was reviewed by the ZBA, and we've covered most of it. I just want to go over a couple more things that they made changes to or not. I will say, ultimately, they really like the changes. For them, it works. It's better organized. They like the fact that we are now breaking out non-conforming uses from structures, which right now it's currently blended all together. They also like the fact that their roles and responsibilities are more clearly separated from planning board and requirements for approval of variances, just like here with special permits, has, is much clearer. So first thing.
Can I make a comment just in general? When we get to town meeting, is the zoning board of appeals, because when we vote on an article, are they voting on this article amongst themselves? And should they be speaking at town meeting and saying how they voted?
Well, we didn't leave it that they would vote on it. I don't think there's a reason they couldn't. They do want to get. They're reviewing a section. I'll go over, but we can certainly ask them to vote for it if they'd like to.
Before town meeting to give a positive recommendation.
Yeah, a recommendation would be nice.
And I'd like them to stand up at town meeting and say so, preferably.
Have a spokesperson do it.
I'll take either or both.
Mm-hmm.
If they love it so much, then.
Tell
If
us
anyone's
more.
ever not seen any ZBA meetings, I was on the ZBA for a couple of years, and the chairman, Tom Noel, how long has he been on?
I don't even know.
25 years?
25 years. He's been chairman. He's a lawyer. He's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's great. He is terrific. So split lots, nothing major here. They just had some wording changes, but they're the authority if there's split zoning. But they would be issuing a special permit for that.
Can I cover that on Wednesday's meeting, right, Paul?
Yes, sir. So this next change is a kind of a substantive one. So currently, if you have an alteration of a non-conforming single family or two family residential, we allow you to extend up to 25% of that nonconformity. Typically, these are small houses on small lots. Mark had suggested go up to 100%. The ZBA felt that number was too big, and based on Tom's 25 years of experience, he's never seen anything that big. He said the biggest he's seen is about 50. So they recommended bringing that number down to 50%. So really the change is going from 25 to 50%.
I don't know if anyone knows the number, but most of the lots in this town, a vast majority are non-conforming.
Yeah.
To do any building permit, you have to go see the ZBA. And they see, Paul or Brian, you think this is 60, 70% of what they see? It's over 50.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to add a deck. Oops. You're over the setback.
I did one meeting where I made 7 motions to approve these at one after.
Yeah.
It's very common.
If you had a second floor, that's over 50%, right? That's doubling your square footage.
No more than 50%.
No more than
That would
50.
be 100%.
Right. So that's what I mean. Like,
It wouldn't allow you to put on a full floor. Correct.
right.
Yeah,
That seems
but it's
almost
they've never seen that.
that nobody's had a non-conforming single-family home and wanted to put on a second floor.
That's what they were indicating.
To be honest, when I think about it that way, 100% is even too restrictive. Because if you had a single-family home and you're allowed by right to build 3 stories, you're increasing your square footage 300%.
200%. Because 100.
Well, 200% increase, but you're increasing it 300%. Like it's a 300% total. Like yeah, no, you know what I mean. But 50% even sounds small when I think of it that way.
Either way, it's an expansion of the existing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's them granting it, but if I'm thinking about it, 25% felt strict. 100 is still only 1 story.
People aren't doing it though.
Yeah, typically what they see are additional rooms added. I mean, that's right. I mean, Alan, you were on it. Brian, you've been with them.
I'm trying to think of any time where we saw a second floor. Would they be able to grant a variance from this, though? And
I think it's a special permit.
They would have a process to approve it if they wanted to.
that's what I was going to say. It was 25 before.
Right.
I'm trying to think of a time where something was granted.
I mean, we get a lot of these.
And they've been more. We've gotten them more than 25%. No.
Well, they have to go to the board if they're over 25.
Correct.
Right. If it's under 25, it's the building commissioner.
So what this does is it moves the line for it doesn't have to go to ZBA.
Correct.
Right.
So they could still build it with the ZBA.
Right.
Well, I'm actually starting to wonder maybe the term gross floor area might be the wrong term. We should be looking at like
Lot coverage.
the footprint of the house. I know there's a better term, but like it sounds like a lot of the when we want to hit is like if they're building a porch, that's adding square footage to the house. So why don't we change the square footage, and then you can build your 3-story house, it won't change.
You mean like foundation size?
Right.
Yeah, you could do some weird things in the same footprint, probably. I don't know.
What if we go by foundation size?
Yeah. I mean, the ZBA is the one ruling on this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're the ones that you won't see this.
Mind
It's the
your own
ZBA
business.
that sees it.
It just seems like one of those things where, like,
Not saying they can't do it. It's just
Yeah.
saying they have to get.
no,
permission.
but my neighbor next to me, if their house is conforming as a single floor, they don't even have to go to the zoning board to build 2 more floors. But I would.
But it might be existing non-conforming, not for whatever other reason.
Yeah.
Lot size, setback. If you have existing setback, that's too close. If you have existing
That's what this is.
square foot, is
Right,
Okay,
they don't
sure.
mention percentage.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brian found one with a duplex where they added a second floor. But again, this is just saying that if you are increasing by no more than 50%, the building commissioner can
just grant it.
grant it.
exactly.
If it's above it,
They'll see less, is what this is
Right.
doing.
Okay.
No.
I'm just pro less restrictive, but that's fine.
This is less.
This is less restrictive.
it's
so
still less. Yeah.
it's fine.
So there's that. And then they're going to get back to us on something. Again, it's really in their wheelhouse, but Section 5.6 is if you're a non-conforming use and you're a vacant site for 2 years, you lose that non-conformity. But the provision now says, but the ZBA could issue a special permit to continue to extend that non-conformity. The concern they have is they want to make sure it doesn't conflict with 5.8, which says that
Peter locked out?
5.8, which says
I
that
wonder nobody comes to our meetings.
It wasn't locked before.
that no non-conforming use shall return to a non-conforming use if it became conforming. And I tried to explain to them that those are 2 different concepts, because the one that 5.8 is saying you go from non-conforming to conforming, you can't go back to non-conforming. 5.6 says is you're non-conforming, then you are vacant for more than 2 years, you have the chance to allow them to go back to a non-conforming use. Nowhere does conformity come back into 5.6, but Tom's looking at it. They'll give us comments back on that.
If a store in the Village Commercial closes and is closed for 2 years, it can become a store again. If it closes and then becomes a house, it can't become a store again. That's what it's saying? Like,
Wait, say that again?
non-conformity wise.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this actually...
Can't go backwards.
Right.
Right. So, but they understand this better than I do. So, and then you'll see the provision in here about the historic district that this is, again, anything for non-conforming uses that would go to the ZBA, that any of those that are within the historic district would have to apply for a certificate of appropriateness. But I think
Tim,
we
to your
covered that.
point, do we want the historic district to be there too with us since they're? if we want the ZBA, because the ZBA is adding and having their
Less
inputs.
important because this is particularly giving responsibilities for the ZBA and laying out their role. So it's not. I would certainly love to have them say that we listened to them and incorporated their feedback into the recodification. But I think it's a less of a. It's not something that like we're saying what they do. We're just saying you better make sure you call them.
I was more saying I want them at town meeting also saying they wanted these changes and we're responding to their.
That's fine too.
They're going to be giving me comments on these changes. I told them by the end of the month would be fine. So they're looking at it. We've given them all the material.
Yeah.
So that was ZBA because we covered the rest of those that, we covered others. And then Ed had a couple of comments that I want to make sure. So, Ed had comment to add recreational vehicle temporary to the use table under residential and in the definitions, because he's starting to see requests for people to start living in RVs. So I'll skip down to the RVs, the definition section, but what we thought was create a new category or definition and a use called recreational vehicle temporary. Allow it by special permit in the residential districts. Don't allow them anywhere else. And then define them as, one thing he wanted to do was recreational vehicle was defined, but under the floodplain definition. He said, let's move it out, move it into the general section of the definitions. And so we pulled the definition for recreational vehicle, but then added at the end the bottom bullet point about excluding mobile homes. So recreational vehicles are primarily not for use as permanent dwelling, but as temporary living quarters for
They have a
recreational.
cockpit and you can drive them.
Yeah, and excluding mobile homes. But then we came up with a definition for recreational vehicle temporary. Because recreational vehicles, you can take to campsites and whatnot, and we didn't put that in the use table, but he wanted to be able to, address people who are wanting to do recreational vehicles temporary. So it would be an RV used as a habitable space for no more than 30 days pursuant to a special permit granted by the planning board.
Was he thinking more like someone's working on their house or they're
Could be that.
Well, they're having visitors or a combination of both. He didn't really say.
It's a number of things. I mean, with housing prices getting so high, people are going to start looking at other ways of finding shelter.
I'm honestly really cool with it.
That's already happening.
I think, didn't we have something in there where there was mobile home temporary, with the idea being like your house burned down, so you put a trailer on the lot?
That's what's already in our books.
Does this conflict with that at all, do we feel?
No.
In
Because
terms of the
mobile homes
temporary?
and recreational vehicles are in mass law defined differently.
They're different, and that's why we're distinguishing.
That's
clearly
fine.
in here that's the case. So
One of the things, if Ed is pitching this kind of thing, could we also bring up Nantucket's tiny home bylaw? Because mobile homes have a size cutoff, and you can't build smaller than a certain size, and the tiny homes fit that sort of in between area. They're not recreational vehicles.
They're on a trailer.
They're on the trailer. They go on a little foundation.
So maybe ask him if this could be recreation vehicle temporary / tiny house.
I mean, I
Different
don't,
category is what he said.
I would think it would be a different category. It would go similar to a mobile home. It doesn't
tiny
have to
homes
be
are
temporary, but it could be temporary.
So is your ask, Steve, to ask the building commissioner if he would like to have a regulation specifically defining
Tiny
them and
home
their
unit.
use?
Yeah. I mean, it could be used as an ADU. It could be, there's a lot of different reasons, but
So maybe
Ask him for now if he thinks it's needed. If not,
if Nantucket's got a
point
good
would-
bylaw, then, I think they probably pay attention.
I don't think Bill Belichick's going to move here, though.
no. Oren, did you want to chime in? Oren, did you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I'm just questioning, I don't, not, because it's raised again. We used to have mobile home as temporary. Has this board decided to make it permanent in all the residential areas? I think that, for me, that's a real big issue. I don't think.
No. Remember, it's by special permit and up to 30 days.
No, it's not.
No.
Yes, it is.
No, mobile home is not.
Oh, mobile home. I'm sorry, Oren.
A mobile home.
Mobile home.
It used to be temporary. Now you're making it a special permit.
No, you're not talking about what we're talking about here. You're talking.
Well, I thought he was-
It's
well,
it's
he-
in
he
that
mentioned
it's in
mobile
that
home.
use table right above it. I know what you're talking about, Oren. That's what I was kind of speaking to a little bit, as we had it as mobile home temporary, and it's just making sure that in the use table, if you go back to Ed's other comment in your search, it was like three rows above it, I think. Yeah, it's like row 7. Wow, that was pretty close. So we have the planning board. It was flagged as temporary in the previous issue note.
Took that out.
We did take that out.
Yeah, we took mobile home temporary out at some point.
Okay.
I would suggest that be stating, and I think one of the other issues I think was raised, and I thought the assessors even mentioned it, that mobile homes may have we're talking about assessments. You're talking about a zone 80 and a zone 60 to put in a mobile home where the assessments are going to be, I don't even know if they can be assessed as a structure. It may be more as a vehicle, and that can have a big impact on this town. In addition to which, I don't think many people living in a zone 80 with a zone 80 or zone 60 would expect to be living next to a mobile home. It's mobile home park, which is fine, and if it needs to be temporary, it could be temporary. But to maybe even extend the temporariness of it, granted, if there's somebody who's doing construction or whatever it is, but it's certainly not, I don't think, appropriate to cite that in a major residential area as a primary residence.
I mean, I feel like a mobile home is 100% considered across the entire country as a pretty standard building for a single family. Like it
is, and that's why you create a mobile park, because you recognize it and you put them all together, and they designated that area, and that's in an appropriate spot.
That's sort of like saying because there's single family homes, we should group them together and just build apartments instead.
Well, no, but you don't allow those parks in those residential areas.
We don't allow mobile home parks.
You don't allow any mobile home park
anywhere.
Right.
Anywhere.
That's what we've been doing for years.
And that's a property with 3 or more mobile homes.
I'll say my parents in Florida, they have a large community. They have their single family houses, and sprinkled in with single family houses or mobile homes that look like single family houses. You can barely tell. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean they're not.
I would suggest people living in zone 80s with fairly large houses and on 2-acre zoning would be put back by allowing that kind of regulation.
I have a feeling people on R80s would be the most distant from anybody else's property. They would have the least visibility of somebody else living on a mobile home compared to another neighborhood in town.
Going back to what we were just talking about, though, we had another line item that said mobile home temporary. Is that what it was?
We used to.
Before this edition? Or before?
Right.
Yes.
We ended up at some point when Mark was here that it got removed, but I don't remember why.
Specifically for the intention of allowing a mobile home to be built, not only temporary.
This just goes to when we're talking at town meeting, it's not on this list. Like, we don't show it as it was there before. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe it's on a different draft.
Motor homes are mentioned for here under motor vehicle.
That's what I'm getting at, yeah. Can we just look for that, Paul? See if we can see where it was before, and
it literally just had the word temporary in parentheses afterward.
With a different number, yeah, but how do we... One of the things we're going to be struggling with is whatever draft we present, we should have the exact language as it is now,
Yeah.
and not that this being a perfect example of not being able to show what we deleted or what we're changing.
Yep.
And I'm working from the drafts that Mark started, and
There's so many. I'm sure we have a few several things that we're not going to ever find. But if we know about it, we're talking about it. I think we have to at least
right.
note it now. Even if you just put it underneath, if we add it underneath at some point, old number 7 we struck, I think we should reference it somehow.
Well, mobile home temporary. Okay, let me. It is.
10, 7, 24, you see it there.
Well, just so you know, you're not sharing your screen right now. You're just sharing the document.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to get back to it. All right, let me put this in here just so.
You're gonna make it to the end of the meeting.
I'll clean this up. Okay, so we'll add mobile home temporary back in. Sorry, I was working.
I'm sure there's a few things that have happened like that, but if we come across it,
Yeah.
I just feel like we should.
Right. No,
Press it.
absolutely. Absolutely. But I'll move that under, I'll move this up in a draft to under the mobile home.
Would an RV park fall under commercial parking facilities?
Is there a time limit in the?
That'd be commercial.
Right. So is it commercial parking facilities?
Let's look at commercial facilities and see where it would fall.
Because we don't have anything that says where, like, again, like
That's
an
commercial.
RV park or like a vehicle
I know, but-
stopover area.
Keep going.
Well, wouldn't we consider it recreational?
Nah, because I don't know if passive. I wouldn't call it passive.
We have recreational camps.
Recreational camp is a program.
Yeah.
it's-
What is it?
I'm looking for commercial uses. Yeah. No, I don't see it anywhere.
Is
We definitely don't
Vehicle-related
have
use.
it.
the park behind Cumberland Farms, is that in Norton?
I don't see it anywhere.
Commercial
So-
parking.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, would it fall under commercial
We don't allow 'em
parking
anymore.
facility?
It's an RV. It's
No, it's not
mobile
parking.
home park. That would,
Okay, so it has to be an RV
it's non-conforming.
park.
It
would
doesn't
be-
exist, so
It
it's,
just wouldn't exist yet.
We don't allow.
Grandfathered, right?
Correct.
that's my opinion. Is that an RV campground does not exist under our proposed zoning code.
Okay.
So like Normandy Farms can't come here.
Sure. Sort of sad. I like campgrounds.
Okay, let me see if there was anything else, Ed.
Is that homework for you to draft a use table addition? No. Not offering.
Nope.
My homework. I've already done it. It's on the previous version. I just figured I wouldn't recommend it yet.
Okay, we already covered that. Site obstructions. RV.
Yeah.
Oh, he just also asked to add under the definition of structure. You could see here that other than fences under 7 feet, because 7 feet triggers a building permit. So, but anything under 7 feet, he doesn't have to issue a building permit.
So that mailbox on North Worcester has to have a building permit?
The airmail guy?
Yeah, that guy.
Oh,
Surprised it hasn't shown up in the papers or anything. It's a little quiet.
Pre-existing, non-conforming.
Yeah. It's a quiet little joke somebody has going in town.
so
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So we've got some more work to do, but I think it's probably a good time now to talk about,
Did you?
The town meeting schedule?
yeah, and I apologize, I should not have sent you the spreadsheet, because it has more dates than you would care to know about, but I'll share this. But a lot of this is the stuff Brian and I need to pay attention to for making sure notices go out correctly. But so the notice went out last week that the meeting is October 20th. And so the other important date is August 28th, which is when the warrant articles are due. That's the placeholder language. So you do have 2 meetings in August, the 5th and the 26th. So you could make a you could go on the 26th and then vote to transmit the placeholder language on the warrant article. Right? So we've still got a little bit of time, and we could still make changes, but then come September, that's when you're going to have your public hearings to make the recommendation to town meeting. I still don't know exactly when the last day to post the final language is, but as you know, there's going to be language that goes to Select Board and FinCom later in the process, usually a few weeks to a month before it goes out. And I know this board has also talked about a joint meeting. So we're gonna, if you want, just let me know and we can start setting that joint meeting with Select Board and FinCom.
I think it should be as early as possible.
I would like a joint meeting.
Yeah, definitely want one. I want it as early as possible, though.
Agreed.
Okay.
Just in case whatever comes out of it, we want to.
Yeah, we want to be prepared for that.
Do we... I'm thinking timing with new town manager, probably.
Yeah.
So it'll be their first rodeo with town meeting in Norton.
And I did see on the Select Board agenda that it looks like, if I read the agenda correctly, that there would be a contract offer.
Okay.
Never mind. It's getting late, but there is something on Thursday's agenda regarding the town manager.
Just there will be additional voices in when we schedule a joint session, and they may need more time with the new town manager for Select Board.
Yeah.
So we should, as early as possible is good, but
Right.
they may have a lot of meetings about town meeting.
That is true.
It is what it is.
Yes. Is the
Back to what we were talking about, though, Paul.
Do you
for the-
have-
for the initial language we had talked about a couple of times and mentioned, and Warren, you kind of brought this up but didn't. Do we want to call this something different than recodification? I know we mentioned it. We talked about it.
We just, right now, you all
I know,
said
we-
zoning bylaw.
Zoning
update.
bylaw update.
Yeah.
Is that how we want to write it in the
Yeah.
warrant?
Oh,
I like it. It's
Everyone's good
vague.
with that?
It's open and vague.
Recodification, whatever definition of recodification didn't work, right?
No, it was too specific.
Let me look up the definition of
Now we're updating.
Update is, yeah.
Don't even like
No.
the word.
we're not even we're recodifying the name. Yes.
We're recodifying the update, yes.
Um,
Updating the recodification.
Paul, do you have how many line items to remind the Sun Chronicle to run the ad? Do you have in here? Just one?
yeah. Yeah, and it'll be on my calendar as well. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist.
And we'll make sure Jody gets it.
Yeah.
So Paul, our next meeting's August 5th. What's the agenda looking like, and what are we going to be covering for the...
Well, one of the things you agreed to was to hear Serpent come back and talk about their approach to the MMOD design standards. So that's on there. We didn't continue anything tonight to that. So we don't. Oh, 260 South Washington is continued to August 5th.
So we did continue something, yep,
Yeah.
260. That,
And
And we have some recodification update bylaw talk.
do we?
I don't know. I'm asking.
You could, I mean, again, we probably should just to go
Just put it on the
Actually,
agenda, so-
you have some items, and I'll flag them again, that you wanted to reconsider, particularly in the use table.
So make that meeting, we'll go back over what we want to talk
Yep.
about.
Yep.
Yeah, that might be a good time for it.
Other than that, if nobody else has anything.
There's only one other part that I've noticed yet. One last thing. We didn't have any design standards for the commercial or industrial districts yet. Is that something anybody's interested in?
No,
Not considering that at all?
Second.
Cool.
not yet.
Okay. Cool.
I'll take anyone else's opinion, but I think that's way too much.
It's a lot for this.
Okay.
I think. I don't know.
Was that all our agenda for the night?
The chair's looking for a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second that.
We have a
Hi, Oren.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Good night, everyone.